Hey guys, welcome to the somewhat review of the trilogy Prince of Thorns from Mark Lawrence. Now, I had told myself that I was gonna read this trilogy this month, and I did read the first book. I did like half of the second book, and I dropped it. And then of course I never touched the the third book. Now, what did I thought about this? Now, if you guys saw my TBR, I had huge expectations for this book, for this trilogy, like very, very big expectations, because people, they talk a lot about how good this trilogy was, and how amazing, how different, how original it is. It's it's not that good, no. It's really not that good. I mean, this one, the first one, I gave it a low 3 stars that should have been the 2 stars, because first of all, what is this about? This is about the Prince Georg. Georg, I think that's how you say it. Georg Ankrat. That when he was really, really young, I don't remember exactly how young he was, his mother and his younger brother were killed. He was supposed to be killed also, but he survived, he escaped, and after that, things on his life just went down even worse, let's say. Well, not worse, it went well for him, because he ended up, after a lot of things, he ended up joining a group of bandits, let's say, that assassins, robbers, thieves. Yeah, one of those groups. And the idea was that he grew up with those people, and on the first book, he was gonna get back to his father, the king, get back the title of prince, like basically saying, hey, I'm still alive, I'm here. And this was the plot basically for the first one. As you guys may understand, there is of course a very not spoilery progression, because if the first one he's a prince, the second he's a king, and the third one is going to be an emperor. I'm not got to the third, but it's obvious, of course, that that's the progression of the trilogy. Now, this book, this was a mess. This was a big mess. This while I was reading this book in like the middle of the second one, I mean, whatever I'm gonna say here, I'm gonna show the first one just so you don't have to look at my face, but it's basically pertaining the first one and the middle of the second one, so you guys know everything I say from now on. It's about the half of the trilogy that I read basically. This read as the author really likes Pathfinder. I would say Dungeons and Dragons, but it feels more like Pathfinder. And he wanted to do a royal character that is a combat rogue or a fighter with some levels on rogue, because he's not a true rogue. I don't think he's even a combat rogue. I'm gonna say that he's a fighter that has some levels of rogue, or that took some feats of rogue. Let's put it like that. It makes sense. And it has the royal feats, also the royal benefits. I'm looking like this as if you guys know Pathfinder. I am sorry. Basically, this was like it felt like a character created for the game, and a game where he only rolled 20s. He won everything. He succeeded at everything, and that's basically it. Now, if it wasn't for the jokes in the middle of this, I would have given this a 2 star. I gave it 3 because I really like the spunk of the character. I really like the things that he said. Some of the interactions with other characters, I really enjoyed that part. Really enjoyed, like, he was just there was some parts that just tickled me in a good way. It was funny, it was entertaining, but that is not enough, because the rhythm of these books, at least the half that I read, is like a game of Pathfinder Dungeons and Dragons. There is an encounter. The encounter is resolved in a battle or with an exchange of some kind. Here, he always wins his encounters, even if it's not like a big fancy win. It's still a win for his objective. He progresses a little bit, there is another encounter, he progresses a little bit, there is another encounter. Even on this book and on the other one, is here he's 14, I think 13 making 14, and it jumps like 4 years early when he was 10 and he started going with these bandits. And on the second one he's 18 and he jumps also 4 years early for right after the events of this one. Something along this line. Even with those jumps, that was basically the rhythm of these books. It's encounter, walking a little bit, another encounter, walking a little bit, another encounter. It's just I did apologize that I did forgive, not apologize. I forgive that a little bit on the first one because the character is really young. I took that as he being like having a lot of luck. So the story may progress so he could get older and then he could be able to get to deal with the harder blows. Let's put it like that. Even though there's lots of very hard blows on this one, but I think you guys can understand the elasticity that sometimes people get when they get older. I forgive it on this one because 14, 13, 14 is really, really, really young. But then on this one, it's the same thing. Basically, the same thing. And this is the double of the size. This is a little bit over 300 pages. This is almost 600 pages. And so you guys know why I do say that this feels even more like a D&D or Pathfinder campaign. You know how on those campaigns you usually have like special encounters to spice things up, or just because the players like it and the dungeon master likes it, and you find the trolls, witches, all of that thing. Sometimes, like, on a session you are fighting trolls, on the other section you go on the witch village, on the other section there is I don't know, a circus, and there is something that the rogue and the bard has to do on the circus, something like that. On the very half of this book, we encounter trolls, Vikings, a circus, witch hunts, and there was something else that I forgot. That's too much for 300 pages. It's just too much. So basically, I'm very, very disappointed with these books. I put this one as I am going back to it, because I'm not exactly sure if I'm done with it. If I want to give it a second go, because part of me wants to see where the third one is gonna go and how this is gonna finish. Though, to be honest, part of me doesn't care. So I put the second one on the I will go back to it list on Goodreads, but I'm still trying to see if I really go or if I'm gonna change that for a DNF, and then I'm just if I DNF the second one, I will unhold this basically because this is still way too much space on my shelves. So yeah, it was that bad. Another thing that I wanted to say about this books, what was it? There is many things that I wanted to say, but I don't want to like do big spoils. What's the other thing? Oh, the other thing. It's two things really. First thing is that there is some kind of game going on. It is basically the game. It's not some kind of game. There are people going for the emperor throne basically, and they portray it like a game, and they keep saying the Game of Thrones. Prince George one time said that something like if you almost something let me restart this phrase. Prince George said something like if you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. And I was just like, wait. Is this Cersei Lannister? Is that you? it just I know that he didn't say exactly those words, but it was so similar that I was like, are you is too close? Did it pull me? Another thing that I had to say, and it's a reason why I keep saying that this is more Pathfinder than Dungeons and Dragons. For people that don't play either Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder, I'm sorry, but as a player, I could go past the similarities because I could even see like spells and rolls and saves being done. That's just how bad it was. Um, there was something that I hate when people do this. This whole trilogy is based on like medieval history, on our medieval history. Things are quoted from our history, but then I am inside. I really love that. I was reading. I was inside that. I was like in the cat is starting to snore. I'm sorry. I was inside the story, seeing where they are going, and then they start talking with about things, technological things that are way too advanced, like biometricals, watches, chambers that are a little bit and that pulled me off of the story so damn much. I mean, it's not that there aren't watches on medieval times, but I'm not gonna say more than this if you really know what I mean. I know that that's not a problem. I know that's know that's not a problem for lots of people. This is a me thing. But it did pull me right off the story because I do like my medieval settings. It's like one of my favorite settings is like medieval regency. Between medieval and Victorian. Even before medieval, to be honest. Like great ancient Greece and Victorian times. Edwardian times. That's like I love that those parts on the past, those what's between those. But if you just then go put things there's just from our time, just no, I cannot. I know this is fantasy. It is a me thing. I know that it's perfectly fine. I just really don't like it. And yeah, so at the point, this is a total failure for me. I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna end up just DNFing the rest of this trilogy. So I'm just not gonna. I will put this on the DNF. Not gonna touch this, and I'm probably gonna unhold the whole thing. I just don't. I just want to wait a little bit more to see if I actually want to do that, or if I want to save, to try the second one again and then save this. But yeah, no, no, no. I will not. I cannot help but not be. I cannot support this. I'm very disappointed on this story. If you liked it, I'm good for you. I'm glad for you. I just couldn't. So yeah, this was my biggest disappointment of the month. I mean, those things happen, right? This is all for for now, guys. Let me know if you have read any of these books, what you think about it, and yeah, this is about it. Bye.